Hello friends, now we start with functions. Function. We start with the definition of function. What is function? What is function? Function. Simple way. Function is a map. Function is what? Function is a map between two non-empty set. Set A and B. Simple. Function is a map between two non-empty set A and B. Is called a function. We have a two non-empty set A and B, and we construct a map between A and B is called a simple function. Okay. Now we start with the example of function. Simple. We choose f is equal to a to b, where a is called the domain of the function and b is called the codomain of the function. And we got when we choose a function, we got an image is called the range of the function. Let f is equal to 2x is a function where f is defined to r is called a function. Second question is that what type of function? Type of function. There are so many types of function in our world. Every time we see the functions type. Let us start with the type of functions. Mostly there are two types of function. First is algebraic and second is transcendental function. And we start with algebraic function. Algebraic function. There are four types of algebraic function. First is called the polynomial function. Second is called the rational function. And third is called the irrational function. And the fourth is called the piecewise function. And in this department piecewise function, we construct also many types of functions like modulus function, signum function, greatest integer function, It is also called GIF, greatest integer function. Fractional function, fractional function, or least integer function. It is also a type of this function. And now we start transcendental function type. Dental function. There are also many type of transcendental function. First is called trigonometrical function. Exponential function. Logarithmic function. Graphical curve. And inverse function. Okay friends, and we start with algebraic function. First type, polynomial function. Okay, then we start with polynomial functions. What is polynomial function? We start with the definition of polynomial function. We write fx is equal to a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube plus dot. Is called a polynomial function where a1, a0, a1, a2, a3 are the constant number, any number, and x is the variable. It's called the polynomial functions. Polynomial function. We see friends, fx is equal to a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus dot plus anx ka power n is called where n is belongs to n. This n is called natural number. And a0, a1, a2 dot an all are belongs to r, real number. Is called a polynomial function. Now we see the topic of polynomial functions, the basic of polynomial functions. First, identity functions. Fx is equal to x is called a identity function. Where domain of this function is real number, and also range of this function is also a real number. Let us see the graph of the identity function. Here is the y-axis and here is the x-axis. How to draw the graph? Let us suppose y equal to x, and we construct a box where we write two values, y and x. When we put y equal to 0, we get x equal to 0. When we put y equal to 1, we get x equal to 1. And we put y is equal to -1, we got x equal to -1. And then the point 0, 0 is here. Let 1 is here, 1 is here, and -1 is here, and -1 is here. 1, 1 is here, and -1 here. So this is the graph of y equal to x. This is the graph of polynomial identity function, where the angle theta is 45 degree. Theta be the angle between x-axis and the line, and the equation of line y-axis is the theta is 45 degree. It's called the identity function. Domain of this function is real number, is whole real number. In whole real line, the equation of line is draw. Then the domain of the function is real number, and range is also a real number. Okay, and secondly we start with second square function. Square function. Fx is equal to x square is called a square function, where domain of this function is also a real number, whole real number, and range of this function is 0 to infinity. It means r plus union 0, and the graph of this function is here. We draw y is equal to x square. Y x, y is 0, x is also 0, y is 1, x is 1, and then y is x is negative, the value in y is negative, the value is in complex form. Then we accept the value of y negative values. This is the y-axis and this is the x-axis, and y is equal to x square. This is the graph of y equal to x square. It is also called a even function. Even function. It is about the line is of a square function is about symmetric about y-axis. Symmetric about y-axis. Again, the graph of fx is equal to x cube. It is a odd function. Domain of this function is also a real number, whole real number, and the graph of this function is, here is the y-axis and here is the x-axis. The graph of this function is y equal to x cube. And this is symmetrical symmetrical opposite the axis. Okay friends, okay, that is good for enough. Now we will study tomorrow. Again we start with other functions, like transcendental function, trigonometric functions, and all functions. Now we recall all the pages. Wait. We start with today we start with function. What is the function? Function is a map between two non-empty set A and B. From A to B we draw a map, is called a function. We start with the examples of function, like fx is equal to 2x, fxr to r, fxc to c, c is complex number, fxz to z, fxz to z. This is all this is called a function. Then we start with what is the type of function. Function is two types: algebraic function, transcendental function. And we study the algebraic function and transcendental functions. The type of algebraic functions. We start with the type of algebraic function: polynomial function, rational function, irrational function, and piecewise function. And now we study piecewise function. Type of piecewise function is modulus function, signum function, greatest integer function, fraction function, and least integer function. Or we study transcendental function types: trigonometric function, exponential function, logarithmic function, graphical function, and inverse function. And we study what is algebraic function: polynomial function, which is right in the form of a0 a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube plus dot 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 plus an x ka power n, is called a polynomial function. Polynomial function. Polynomial function where all n is belongs to natural number. This is called a natural number. We know natural number 1 2 3 4 dot dot dot, and a0 a1 all are belong from rational number, is called a polynomial function. Basic polynomial function. We start with basic polynomial function is identity. First is identity function. Fx equal to x is an identity function, is called identity function. Its domain is R and range is R, and the graph of identity function is y is equal to x is here. The angle between the identity function and the x-axis is 45 degree. How we construct the graphical view of identity function. How we construct the graph of identity function. Here we study how we construct a graph of identical function. And again we start with the square function and the graph of a square function. And other type of a square function is also called the odd function, and the graph of odd function, which this graph is symmetric about y-axis, and this is symmetric opposite the axis, opposite the x-axis and opposite the y-axis. Okay, thank you friends.